Tisha B'Av. So there's an issue of this week, because we have the 9 days. We mentioned last time that Shabbos was that it's a machlokes whether we have the Shavuot Shechal by Tisha B'Av this year. If you have the week of Tisha B'Av, because Tisha B'Av comes out on a Sunday, comes out on Shabbos, push off to Sunday. That's a machlokes. If it comes out on Shabbos and push off to Sunday, if there's a week of Tisha B'Av, because there's no week. Sunday's the beginning of the week.
That's more a problem for Sfardim.
Sfardim, they may not have any Isurim on Tisha B'Av. But for Ashkenazim, when we start of the Shavuot Shechal, we start from Rosh Chodesh. But nonetheless, there are kulas. There are different things that are, even though the minhag is to start from Rosh Chodesh, but first of all, it's not as serious as the week of Tisha B'Av, which is Medina the Gemara, and it's only a minhag from the 9 days. And two, there's certain things which a person can be makel on. For example, we said Shabbos, said if a guy makes a siyum, so really you're only supposed to invite your kroivim, the people that are excited. You're making the siyum and they're joining into the party, and then you can invite everyone who's very happy that you're making a siyum. But during the Shavuot Shechal boy, the Rambam says you should only invite 10 people. Besides your immediate relatives, you could only invite 10 people of those that are very happy. 10 happy people. You can't invite everybody who wants to join in.
And if you have 12 kids?
The relatives, the immediate relatives that you can. But everyone else, only 10 other people. And that's the Shavuot Shechal boy. So the Shavuot is down. But this year, for example, where there's no Shavuot Shechal boy, so it comes out on Sunday, and the whole week you could invite whoever feels excited that you're making a siyum could be invited to join in. So what?
Puzzling, because the actual day is Shabbos, so you have the whole week before.
Right, but
just because you push it off.
Yeah.
But even so, just because you push it off, the real day is really Shabbos.
Right.
So why wouldn't the week before?
We're not doing Avelos on Shabbos. We're not doing Avelos on Shabbos.
Yeah.
We'll see what we're doing now. We're not doing Avelos on Shabbos, so Maisa, it's not a day of mourning.
No, but technically the week...
It should have been. It should have been.
The week before.
Yeah, it should have been. So that's the... so there are different things that come out a little cool if it's not considered the Shavuot Shechal by. So just on wine, we'll move on to other things. Just on wine, so you have this issue of drinking wine last night to Havdalah. Chava says you can drink it, Rambam says you give it to a child. A person could drink it, but you have it also by bris milah, or these things that you drink wine. Other times you drink wine. Also, you have the same shiloh if you give it to a child, or you could drink it yourself. The question is, what age of a child has a problem so not so clear in halacha. At what age the child you have all leftovers from Shabbos? The children, at what age you have to be makbid to meet and drink wine? By so the minhag here is to be machber at any age, over 3 for sure. Maybe even 3. The minhag is not to give unless there's a real reason to give. But halacha, be'etzem halacha, it's not so clear. If they're not a gil chinuch yet, there's a machlokes. There's 2 ages. There's the age of a gil chinuch, which is 6 and up, depending on the kid. But then there's the age of the deil sabel, where he understands to be misabel, which is really older, maybe like 9 years old. He doesn't know how to be misabel. He doesn't know what it means to be misabel in Yerushalayim. The age I give around 9 for that. So between 6 and 9 is the age where, if you wanted to have your child drink to Havdalah, for example, it has to be a gil chinuch. You made a bracha, now you want to give it to a child, so it has to be a gil chinuch, which has to be over 6, and he has to be not old enough to know how to be misabel, because then he shouldn't be drinking it either. So that's between 6 and 9. That's how. So the question is, generally, if you want to feed him. So normally we don't do it for mitzvah, for wine. So you give it to the child between 6 and 9. But otherwise, the person can say it's machlokes, but the person can say we don't give it to a child that age. We don't let them eat meat and wine. The child's under 6. It's not so clear. It's very unclear.
Does it matter if it's a male or female child?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
So, but the question is, what about under 6? It's not so clear. So some are makers say, yeah, they can drink wine and meat anyways, even without the mitzvah.
if the choice is between you drinking it and the child who's older than that, he's still deserved to drink it.
So the stipler used to give it to the child till he was 13, but the other poskim say, no, there's nothing wrong with you drinking it. You have a mitzvah, and I say you're allowed to drink the kais. Drink the kais. The mechaber holds you just drink it. You don't give it to the child. And a lot of people are annoyed like that, even in the Ashkenazim, because you know it's not clear which kid is considered a gil chinuch or which kid is a deil sabel. The whole thing is not so clear. Therefore, they just drink it themselves. Yeah. So that's a shaila on the child under 6. It's a shaila if he's allowed to drink meat. The minhag is not to. At least when they're 3, unless there's any health reason that they have to eat meat, and they should eat it, with chicken or whatever. Erev Shabbos is all shaila after chatzos. If you could give them early the fleishiks, that's a shaila. Moshe says, though it's brought down from the Frierdiker of Scheiner that maybe you could do after chatzos, but Moshe says no, there's no time for it, but a little bit before Shabbos. You know, an hour or 2 before Shabbos, and it's a derech for them to eat. Sometimes they eat before, then you can give them meat. Blav Malka, there was all Shabbos, one of the Chassidim, the Makbet have more Malka with meat. The Shabbos if they could have more Malka with meat last night. Some used to make a siyam with Afka in order to allow them to have meat. Others had it. So there are different times. So in this halacha also it says that this week is more kal. It's not really shvur shechalboi. So if there's a reason, if you know there's some kind of suffix, then we're more makel on the drinking wine and eating meat, because maker adin, it could be it doesn't really apply. It's just a minhag.
There's no requirement to use wine.
What?
There's no requirement to use wine for
You could use, well,
use some other.
you could use Chamar Medina, but it's always l'chatchila to use wine. It's always l'chatchila to use wine.
Even when you have this much.
Yeah. But mitzvah you have to drink it. It's hard to know today what's called Chamar Medina. Beer is. It's hard to know today what goes into that guidelines.
In Canada, beers.
Why
That's
is
what they
it?
told
It's
me.
right
In
up
Canada,
there.
they drink beer.
Why would that be hard in Canada? I don't understand.
You go visit someone's house, they serve you beer.
Oh, you get a coffee.
I don't know, coffee maybe.
Tea.
Maybe coffee they serve you. I don't know what's considered the drink of the.
For sure, beer.
Canadian.
Canadian.
So I was saying Shabbos, it's the gay.
Drink water.
That's right.
You actually can't.
Not today, people buy water.
Oh, I see.
Water is not considered Chamar Medina, even if people drink water. Water is not kosher to make a bracha on.
But you're saying that
That's
today
the shiloh with the
people are-
sodas and the teas and this. It's really just tasted water. You know, maybe it's not enough.
Uh-huh.
The shiloh,
What about
what's
milk?
considered Chamar Medina?
Milk.
Milk, the Mishabur says milk is not, but I heard once from a Palm's child that it is. It is, today it is.
And juice?
They used to not drink milk as a drink. They
Uh-huh.
used to use it, to put it into the food, but they
Food.
wouldn't drink it as a drink. But today it's drank,
And
everybody
juice?
eats for breakfast. Orange juice is a shiloh if that's Chamar Medina.
Coke.
Ramila said he don't like that. He said coffee, people go out, you go out the second cup, that coffee, it's already considered something, it's hard to define where Chamar Medina is today. That's why you stick to grape juice. I mentioned Shabbos also, that you have the Shiloh, this coming Matzah Shabbos, for those that aren't fasting. For whatever reason, someone's not fasting, someone's not well, or whatever reason they're not fasting, so if they're planning on eating on Tisha B'Av, you have to make Havdalah, right? You have to make Havdalah. You can't eat after Shabbos without Havdalah. Normally, you make this. You have Bar Maria Eish also you make. So that we make by Echad, I make it in shul, right? You make a Bar Maria Eish. What do the ladies do at home? So if you went home and before you come to shul, so you can make a Bar Maria Eish for your wife. You both have it. But if you're not, you're coming to shul, and she's not coming to shul, so then there's a whole shiloh of women are chayiv and Bar Maria Eish. It's a whole shiloh of poskim. If they have the mitzvah l'maisa, she can make it herself. She can, unless you bedavka have a minute that she doesn't, she can make it herself and make a Bar Mitzvah Eish. Because otherwise you're going to hear it in shul and you can't be mitzvah later. so she can make it. But as far as the rest of Havdalah, if she's eating or someone's eating at home, they have to make Havdalah, and they have to make it on wine. So even though it's Tisha B'Av, they have to wine on Tisha B'Av. So best to make it on grape juice, not wine, obviously. Best to make it on grape juice. And they should only drink a share, the minimal share. They shouldn't drink the whole cup of grape juice. So just drink what's necessary for the bracha. It's 1.6 ounces, Moly Lugma, whatever that is. They should drink, and then they have to. You can't eat without Havdalah. If they're just eating a very small amount, just to get by the fast, but they're not really breaking, then they don't have to make Havdalah. But if you're eating,
So
first has to make Havdalah.
So it wouldn't be Rav Kos then that they're drinking.
No, you don't have to go so. Moly Lugma.
That's
It's a
it.
chickful. Moly Lugma is a chickful. It's hard to define it, but it's about 1.6 ounces. If you say, Rabbi says, depends on each person really.
Sorry, so you're saying if the person's doing the shiurim thing, so then they don't have to make Havdalah?
No, even if not doing shurim, if they're just, let's say, a lady's just a nursing woman, she's just drinking, so she should have milk. She drinks a little bit, so she's not really making a whole meal or eating, she's just drinking to have milk. So then she wouldn't need to make Havdalah. But if a person needs it for the health to sit down and have a meal, to eat proper, then they should make Havdalah before.
Sorry, and you're saying in general, even the ladies who aren't fasting, they have to say Barim Haish?
Yeah, you have to make Barim Haish.
So what, just Barim Haish?
It's Barim Haish. So they do in shul. They take the candles and it makes a Barim Haish, right?
No Hamavdal, no nothing, just that?
Well, you have to make a Hamavdal. You just say, but you say an Atochayna and you say Hamavdal. If someone didn't, you say Baruch Hamavdal Ben Kodesh Chol, but you don't make a real Havdalah because you can't drink the kais. So you make an Eish. You have to make an Eish. You have to make a Eish. Technically, one can wait till they get home later at night. They don't use the candles. They can wait till they get home at night. So they used to use the candles in the shuls on Tisha B'Av.
There's no B'Samah, no?
No B'Samah. So they used to use the candles in the shul at night. They used to use it. All the echad, Megillas echad were full of wax. Today, I don't know, they don't do it. So.
They even tell them off on lights.
Charles, these lights, if you can make them these lights. So if a person doesn't make till they get home, okay, so then the wife can wait for them to get home, and then you make a Barim Haish at home. But Havdalah, even if they don't eat at night, let's say they decide they're going to fast for Chatzais, and then they eat after Chatzais, so you have to make Havdalah by Chatzais. Whatever you eat, before you eat, you got to make Havdalah. And we make Havdalah after you finish fasting. Sunday night you make Havdalah, right? But
So
as
it's
long
not
as you eat, it gets to do
necessarily
it
at
early.
night.
What?
Not necessarily at night.
Not
Can be on
necessarily
the
at
day,
night,
anytime.
anytime. And then you can't give it to a kid because the kid's Tisha B'Av. I mean, it's not so simple to give it to the kid either. To give it, you drink a small share. You drink just a little bit, and then. Question of repairing clothing. There's an issue of tailoring clothing, which is a little confusing. Just go through it a little bit. It's confusing because Allah itself is confusing. There's some machlokes about it, but this is what it says. Yeshayim sha'asu asaken begadim chadashim u'noam chadashim b'Shabbos. And this week, before Tisha B'Av, you're now allowed to fix new clothing. Yesh lahachim b'zem resh chodesh. So you can't buy new clothing. So this refers to, even though we're ready from the 3 weeks, we weren't buying new clothing. 3 weeks we weren't buying chashuv clothing. They make a shechiyadu out, but now you can't buy even shoes or things like that, which are not chashuv. You don't buy during this time. Now, and Scheiner says like this: Uman Yisrael, a Jewish tailor, also la'asayis lachem zal do it for someone else either. Bein b'schaber mechina. And the Ramah says, "V'nogu lahakol b'zeh." I would like to be makel on this. So, how you makel on this? If the guy gave it to you, if the Jew, for a guy first of all, when that a Jewish tailor can tailor clothing for a guy, and even for a yid, if they gave it to him before Rosh Chodesh, to give him 49 days, the Ramah says, "V'nogu lahakol b'zeh." If you gave it after Rosh Chodesh, obviously a Jewish person give it after Rosh Chodesh, and you're doing it if you can't.
Is that new clothing or anything?
Yeah, it's a chayv. It's even it's any clothing really. They're fixing up.
I think repairs you can do.
And even if you're planning on not wearing it till after Tisha B'Av, even if you're planning on not wearing it till after Tisha B'Av, you're not supposed to do tailoring and that.
Is that repairs or is that?
But just to fix like a could be to fix something that ripped. You could do just to fix
Or a
it.
button.
The hem fell down or something.
Yeah. It's hard to know because the Goyen argues on this actually, and the Goyen holds that repairing clothing is a din of kibbutz. It's like washing clothing. Now we're not makel on kibbutz to wash it, even if it was given before Rosh Chodesh, and we're not learning to wash it. So it has an of kibbutz the old it's asa. And then he says also to give it to umnam eina Yehudi, to give it to a Goyish tailor also. During this time to be ready for afterwards is also asa. No, sorry, Mikra is asa, but the Ramah says v'chein nagu that we're allowed to give it. You could give it to a guy to fix for after Tisha B'Av. V'chein nagu lahakal to give it to a guy, even new ones to fix, even new clothing to fix for after Tisha B'Av. Which again the Goyen argues on. The Goyen says
Who said it was okay, sir?
the Ramah says it's okay, and the Goyen argues on it that you can't give it to even to a guy to fix it for after Tisha B'Av. So a Jewish tailor is not allowed to fix it, even stuff that was given before, and a non-Jewish tailor is not allowed to even fix it for afterwards. According to the Goyen, according to the Ramah, it's mutter to fix it for afterwards. So the Bialocha paskins like this. What do you do? So the Bialocha paskins manually push it. The ein lahachmer kiyim b'shvur shachal Tisha B'Av loy koidim. The kibbutz gufa ein element haga. The kibbutz nogul lahakol b'zeh su ein lahachmer. So the Bialocha paskins that you only have to be machmer on the shvur shachal Tisha B'Av, which this year you don't have. This year you don't have shvur shachal Tisha B'Av. Like this, so you don't have anything that's minhag, so you don't have a shvur shachal Tisha B'Av. So technically, it could be like the Ramah, and they could give it to a guy to fix for this year. Give it to a guy to fix for after Tisha B'Av. According to the guy, it wouldn't be allowed. But the Shabbos seems to be machriya that by shvur, if it's not shvur shachal Tisha B'Av, that you'd be allowed to give the clothing into a guy to fix for afterwards. So that's a cooler, another cooler that comes out this year. That's what it says here. So that's another one. So that's as far as sewing clothing. They have this cooler. So, but if to give it on the 9 days, for the 9 days, that's obviously you can't do. Anyways, you're not going to wear it, so it's not so shchiach. So to give it on for afterwards, there would be a to give to a guy, or for a yid if you have a Jewish tailor, or if you want to give it to a Jewish tailor, that's a little more complicated. You shouldn't give it to a yid to fix it to fix it even for afterwards. If you give it to a Jewish tailor, it should be given before Rosh Chodesh to fix for after. But to give it during the 9 days to a yid, that's not as geschmack. That's how it comes out over there. So that's as far as repairing. Now there's one other halacha which we mentioned, which is binyan. What about building, renovations and stuff? So shaila comes up every year, and it's very hard shaila to define. The reason why it's hard to define because the ikar halacha, like the Rabbi said, he's giving a share. He said that you want to find a heter. There's a million heterim out there. The shaila is, what am I to do? Because the ikar isser is a binyan shal simcha. It says like this: binyan shal simcha zasik and beis chasnas levnoi. They used to build, like I mentioned last time. They used to build when the son got married. Everybody, you always have to pay money. The shals, during the different times, what they actually paid for. So what they used to do is actually build a house for them. They would actually build a house for them, and that's where they would live. They would build a base chasnas. They wouldn't rent out to buy it. You would build a house and you would make the chasna in the house. And that was called the base chasnas, and then they would live there. So, no, it's getting way cheaper on.
We have it easy now.
What?
We have it easy now.
Have it easy now, yeah. Now you have to rent the hall and get to my house. No. But that's called a binyan shel simcha. So, and actually for a mitzvah it's mutter, so if it's necessary right away it would be mutter anyways. But a binyan shel simcha is what's asur. So the Mishmur says, who in any binyan that you don't need for your living. You're only doing it l'harvacha b'yalma. In other words, it's sort of like extra space. You don't need it for your living itself. We're going to have an example from the Ran. That's also included in binyan shel simcha. Any building that's done that's not necessary for your dwelling right now. You don't need it. Something which you need right now. You have 10 kids in a room, and you need another room. And it's finished. So then, okay, you make another room. It's also hard to define. You go there to Israel, and they live. They live in 2-bedroom apartments against the whole families. They manage. Come here, each kid needs another room. Is that called what's necessary? Is that called harvacha b'yalma? So these things are hard to define. What's necessary and what's not necessary. But something which is not necessary is included in this isser. Now, before we go further in the Mishabura, so that's the isser. And this isser starts from Rosh Chodesh. This is not totally in the Shvur Shechal, but this starts from Rosh Chodesh. And that's also even for the Svardim. Now, the question is, okay, I'm not building, I'm just wallpapering, I'm painting, I'm just doing, I make it look nicer. I'm not actually building itself. So it's not clear either in the Paiskim if that's included in the Yisr Me'ikar Adin. A Moshe writes in Tshuva that one should avoid it. One should avoid doing that during the 9 days. Even the painting and the wallpapering and things like that, if it's not necessary for the living. Now, if the guy started before, it's usually the Scheiner, the guy started before, and he's in the middle now, and now what do? You throw him out of the house? So the Mishmur likes like this: if you hired the guy before Rosh Chodesh, bekablanis, which is usually the case, you pay him by the job, you don't pay him by the hour. So then, even on Tish B'Av itself, technically the guy's allowed to work, because you hire him for the job, and he could come whenever he wants to come, and go whenever he wants to go. So technically, even on Tish B'Av itself, he could do it. And he says, then if you hired him to be mitzayu your house, let's say to paint your house. So for the same reason, he could down Tish B'Av. But if you could pay him off a little bit, give him a few bucks to come on a different day, so it's better to wait till after Tish B'Av. That's how he pasked. So
is it any different than Shabbos? Like
what, working in your house on Shabbos? Yeah, working on Shabbos is much worse because there's a Marasai in there.
And so Mordechai doesn't come to play.
Tish B'Av is not as chomer as Shabbos, So on Shabbos is a Marasai, and someone's doing work in the house. Even though Kablonis could be his mutter, hired for the job, he's building on Shabbos. Someone told me that there's a neighbor, they're renovating the whole house, and the guy comes on Shabbos. He couldn't believe it. He says, you should go tell the guy that it's awesome. The guy comes on Shabbos. So even though Kablonis technically, in the Ikar Adin is mutter, but Ikar Adin, I'm saying, technically could have been mutter, but there's a Chazal made a din of Marasayan. There's a Marasayan, the guy's building on Shabbos, that we don't allow. But on Tish B'Av, it says even on Tish B'Av itself, if the guy started before, and he's finishing up on his kabbalah, technically it's mutter, just a person should try to push it off till after. That's if a guy is doing it. The shayla we have today is always that you have Yiddish contractors, and Yiddish people are hiring them. So you have two shaylas. If I'm a contractor, and a guy hires me to work, so it's my panosa, My panosa, what am I going to do? Take off a week? No business this week. So technically, he's allowed to work. He's allowed to work for a guy. He's allowed to do kadei panosa. It's similar to what we had before with a Jewish tailor, that when Noag Lahakal was at. When Noag Lahakal was at because he's for panosa. So this guy works, he works, but the Shabbos is working for a Yid. He's working for a Yid, so he wants to do kadei panosa, so it's panosa. But you're working for a Jew. And the Jew says, well, I could hire a guy. I'll hire a guy and start working, a week before. a few weeks before, and then it goes into Tish B'Av, I don't have the problem. He's not going to want to stop. Continuing work again to the 9 days. Okay, so it'll work. But if I hire a yid, not so kosher, I hire a yid and he starts working before, then he gets into the 9 days. And
but if a Jew who's having renovations done can hire a goy, so you can have the work done, and if a Jewish contractor can do it, but not do it for a Jewish family.
Right. So now you have both together.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Now you have both together. So it's a shver call because you don't want to tell a guy to hire a guy not to hire you.
Right.
But on the other hand, you're not going to renovate in 9 days. What are you going to do? Renovate, so you say the yid shouldn't do it and you shouldn't do it. I mean, technically you should sit down together and tell him to do other work for the 9 days, but in your house he should come after the 9 days. You shouldn't have to pay him off, you should understand it. If he should understand it in 9 days, you should come afterwards. It's always a sticky issue. It's always a sticky issue. Like upon him, the only issue applies to something that's a binyan, which we call a binyan shel simcha, which is the extras, or sounds what's called extras. But the extras, I'll tell you a funny maisa. There's nothing doing anything. But I just saw in Shabbos. There's a guy who wrote a book in their homes or something. He got close to a different gedolim. So he was by Chaim Kanievsky. So Pukach, the day before, 2 days before, he took his kids on to a farm. They went on a donkey ride or whatever. They went on donkeys and around. They were debating if he should get a car. He wanted to get a car. So he joked to his wife, the kids love the donkey, we got a donkey. Anyways, he goes into Chaim Kanievsky the next day, and he asks him, he wants to buy a car. And his mother-in-law doesn't let. She's an Israeli. He doesn't buy his car. But he wants to get around. It's complicated. He wants to buy a car. So Chaim Kanievsky looks at him and says, just buy a donkey. So donkey. Buy a donkey. Is he joking? He's saying the truth. So he waits, what's saying? He says, buy a donkey, said it a few times. So he said, yeah, maybe for me I could buy a donkey, but I have to get my family around. It's okay, buy a horse. He was laughing because he says, he must have seen something there. And he told him, he said, for an Israeli, maybe not, but for an American, you could buy a car. Americans are used to having cars to get around. An American, you could buy a car. Your mother-in-law only use it for what you need it for. She's not nervous driving around, isn't it? But I'm saying we have different asagis. Each person has different asagis, what they need and what's extra. Where do you define this I need and this is extra? So it's hard to answer these questions. But with my son, anything that could be pushed off till afterwards should be pushed off. It's not like we're doing all that much during this period, to be masabel ala churban. So you got to do something. You got to put it somewhere. So we're going to push off whatever can't be pushed off. There's definitely you have all these heterim. Kabbalah is mutter b'etzem. I feel the Tish B'Av itself. If you hire a guy and he's doing it, Tish B'Av itself is mutter. Just unless you can mafayis him with a little bit. That's hanageya for the 9 days.
What about giving a present?
What about giving a present?
Somebody's birthday.
Yeah, what about giving a present? So I saw he brought down in Simcha B'Yonim, I didn't bring it here, he brings down about giving presents, that even though technically it's not clear that there's, if new clothing we're makbid on, and even buying new expensive items we don't buy during the 9 days, you don't buy new you want to buy something new, we wait till afterwards. But presents is a shayla. What kind of present? If it's an expensive present, so then that should wait till after. But he actually says you're allowed to buy it just to give it. You should wait till after. If it's a cheaper present, a small birthday present, a safer or something, that's not awesome. You buy something more expensive, that would be Santa Stipler himself, when he printed his svarim. Okay, he made it as Kilos Yaakov, so if the package would come on during the 9 days, that's when they delivered it to his house, he wouldn't open it till after Tish B'Av. It was a simcha to him to open it up and see the sefer and then go through it, so he wouldn't. There was a chumah b'yalma who was noig on himself, he wouldn't open up that package. But make a din, of course, if you're going to learn the sefer, for sure you should buy it. But something which you're going to use, a small kelim, not chashiv, a person can buy, but something which has chashivas is something that's already like to wait till afterwards.
Because of the simcha.
Because of the simcha. So not to have simcha. This year, Tisha B'Av comes out on the 10th day. So really, Tisha B'Av is on Shabbos, but it's pushed off to Sunday. So what halachas does that have? What does it mean? So the halacha is like this: that on Shabbos, it's like a guy's an oval. The guy's an oval. You don't do aveils b'fahesya. So therefore, most halachas are not negay of Tisha B'Av on Shabbos. A person's allowed to eat, allowed to have full ksudah shleim malach b'shaitzei. They say for Shal Shudas, not to do in the shul Shal Shudas, or to invite a lot of people over Shal Shudas, because b'makom the suda mafsekes. But you can eat whatever you want, especially you want to make sure you have a good fast. So you can eat whatever you want, meat, you can eat anything you want during the Shal Shudas, but you don't make a whole merayas, invite friends over, and that you don't do. But avails b'fahesya you don't do. But b'tzina you do. Dvam she'b'tzina anoyeg. So tash m'shamita and these things, marriage relationship is usher on Shabbos because it's really Tisha B'Av. So that's the one thing that's usher. The tefillah, then it's mutter. The Sunday is pushed off to Sunday. So Sunday still, even though it's nidcha, but it has all the halachas of Tisha B'Av. If someone's sick, it's never shayla, but otherwise it has halachas Tisha B'Av. But Motzei Tisha B'Av is not the 10th day anymore, it's the 11th day, right? So Motzei Tisha B'Av, normally Motzei Tisha B'Av has all the halachas until the 10th day in the afternoon of what you had during the 9 days. You can take haircut, you can't wash, you can do laundry until Chatzos. But this year everything is mutter right after Tisha B'Av, except for eating meat and drinking wine. Eating meat and drinking wine, they have Velusa Shal Yaim. It's interesting that those things are noig, but because of the Velusa of the day, that's noig. Eating meat and drinking wine, you shouldn't have Motzei Tisha B'Av, except for the wine of Avdallah that you can have. But aside for that, you can't have meat and wine, but everything else is mutter. You can do laundry, you can take haircuts, you can wash. Everything else is mutter, Motzei Tisha B'Av. It's interesting that meat and wine is usher to begin with. Moshe has a tshuva to explain it, because even the others are allowed to eat meat and wine. It's a new sheikh. You give wine to someone who's depressed. Others are allowed to have wine, but nonetheless on Tisha B'Av, the whole 9 days we don't drink wine. We don't drink wine and eat meat, even though others are allowed to, because it has a din of aninus, and the oinen is usher. It has a din of aninus. So Moshe explains why it's like that, why we consider it like aninus. But he says it's interesting that the Gemara says really they would have asked basar and yain the whole year, but the Rabbi couldn't be yomer on it. There's 2 reasons why they would have asked it. Either because of the kabbanis of bottle, kabbanis of basar and wine. Because it's not the reason. It's because of the availus of the churban. All year we shouldn't drink meat and wine, but we can't hold out all year. So dying for us the 9 days, we practice that, the basar wine, but. It's like an anina, so that's why you have those. But all the other things fall off as soon as Tisha B'Av is over. Okay, so Hashem, we shouldn't have to practice these halachas anymore. And,